But it gets better. Steven Spielberg also fueled the fire during an interview on 60 Minutes, where he said,
This is such a gossipy episode of Nerdy and Nice.
we are, this is like Perez Hilton. Hey everybody, welcome to Nerdy and Nice. We are so happy that you have joined us today. We have a great show in store for you. A lot of great topics to talk about, including the ongoing saga of this Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni thing that is just getting juicy from an outsider's vantage point. Also some Avatar stuff and the return of some old goodies from the 80s, trailer reviews, a lot of stuff. So me and Lacey are here. A lot to get into. Lacey, how are you?
I'm doing good. I just got an espresso machine, so I feel really fancy.
So are you all caffeinated up?
I would like to think I am, but I don't think it did any. Like I'm past the point of tired. You ever been there? That like doesn't do much. But I'm excited to be here.
Could be a post-caffeine crash happening now. You may pass out on the show.
I don't have a Kit Kat this week. I'm very disappointed in myself.
Well, you only eat the English ones, right? So
I had one today. I ate my one that I would have eaten now earlier.
Well, that's okay. A Kit Kat will be in your future. There will be more Kit Kats. There will not be more Severance pop-ups. So you showed this to me. Was this in Grand Central? New York City.
Grand Central Station, yeah.
Grand Central Station. So Lacey, what exactly was this? Was this an advertisement, like a marketing move? And they got all the cast involved?
I am a sucker for a good marketing initiative. So Apple TV has their show, Severance. That's a big hit with a lot of people. I haven't watched it. I heard it's really good. I feel like Apple has a lot of shows like that are very good, but I don't have a subscription to Apple, so when am I ever going to watch it?
Yeah.
But they're promoting the season 2 with a pop-up in Grand Central. And what they did is they put this big kind of see-through box in Grand Central Station, like in the middle of where people walk. And they put 4 cubicles in because it's like a workplace drama. And they had the cast there and people could just watch them kind of shoot a scene. And the pop-up was there initially as like the set. So people thought it was like, oh, cool, it's the set. That's so unique, like kind of like an art exhibit. And then the whole cast, like in makeup, everything, walk out, get in the box and start doing a whole scene. And it's just kind of crazy. And I guess Ben Stiller was there that was kind of geeking out, taking pictures of it. And like, it's just one of those things that as someone that's in marketing, you sit in meetings and you come up with cool, unique ideas to promote something. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. And this was something that I think they did a really good job with because they didn't really advertise this was happening because you don't want too big of an audience that you can't control it or it takes away from what the moment is, which is very intimate.
Right.
But this was like perfectly done. And of course you have, I'm assuming eventually an official video from the team that was there because they had big photographers and camera people and whatever. But what you do have are these viral moments that people share their own pictures. They're like, I was there. You had a lot of people saying, I work right there. And then they ran over and took pictures. And they had everybody that was involved with the pop-up in costume, in character, even the people that were playing security. So one of the accounts was that, and by accounts, I mean people that were their accounts. She had said she went up to one of the guards outside of the box after the cast left and said, oh, is the cast coming back? Are they going to do this again? And the guard was like, what are you talking about? We only hire these types of people at our industry. Like there's no cast here. These people that work for this company. And then handed her a tote bag that had like an HR booklet brochure of this show.
Wow.
It was like so well done. But I shared it with you because it was like one of those unique marketing things that
it was cool.
I was like, well done.
And the fact that they got Adam Scott and Britt Lower, I forget how to pronounce her last name,
Mhm.
actually there and not like somebody who looks like them or
They were,
whatever.
like, sitting on the side of the desk like you do in the workplace and, like, talking to
Looking at
each other.
documents, like
Patricia Arquette
actually.
was there.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very clever.
Mhm.
One of the most highly foot trafficked spots, for
Mhm.
sure. So
And
very
the
smart.
background's beautiful too, like, Grand Central's such a beautiful building.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Once they redid it, whatever it was 30 years ago. It's so nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, very cool. Uh, and that is a show I do need to watch. I don't have Apple, so we'll see when I catch it. But I know
Mhm.
it's highly critically praised. Audiences love it, so I'll get around to it eventually. But bravo to them for doing that. Very clever, and I imagine it will lead to some success. More people hearing about it, learning about it. Hopefully for them watching it.
I think it's up for Emmys and stuff, so we'll see what happens.
Nice.
Or some
All
type
right,
of award.
let's dig in to the meat and potatoes of the episode. So, Lacey, what is happening?
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Enough, I get the point.
First up, we've gotten some new updates from Avatar 3. I'm gonna be honest right now, not to bring this story down, but I haven't seen Avatar 2. I know it's on Disney Plus. I know I should watch it already, but my understanding is it's like 7 hours long. Because no one tells James Cameron no anymore. So which rightfully so. He's awesome. He can do whatever he wants. But it's really hard to find, 7 hours of my time to go watch this movie. Plus, it's
About
like when I
7 hours.
have how much is it? Look it up.
Three and a
How
half
long?
hours.
Yeah, 3.5 hours. So it's Titanic, basically. It's long. Anyway.
Yeah,
So I'm
well,
gonna go at it with this. So I have seen the first one. I saw the first one in the movie theater, I think like 4 or 5 times. Like I loved that first movie. I thought it was amazing. And I've been to the theme park, which I also thoroughly enjoyed. Did you go to the theme park?
in Animal Kingdom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ride the ride?
Did the ride. Did both rides.
What'd you think? We never talked about it. What'd you think about the riding one?
Eh,
I'm saying, like, what did you think? Like it breathing in between your legs and it's like vibrating and it's like a motorcycle kind of.
it was cool.
They like
I'm not
strap you in.
I'll be honest, I'm not the hugest fan of the simulation rides because I just sometimes I don't like it makes me a little dizzy, but mostly it's like I know that I'm looking at a screen and it's hard for me to really get lost in it. And the same thing with the Smuggler's Run, but the difference there is like you're in the cockpit or you're fully in that cockpit, so it makes it feel more real.
You're not
Star
strapped into
Tours,
something.
Star Tours a little less because you're in like essentially a theater with 30 people, but that's fun. But this one, you're just sort of straddling this bike for lack
It's
of a
like
better
a bike,
term.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you're looking at the screen, and it is really cool. I think people I've talked to previously, some of my good friends who like it's their favorite ride at Disney.
Oh,
They may have
really?
just overhyped it for me.
I
It
was
was
gonna say we spoke about it, and I was like, it's kind of weird. Like, it's just like a weird experience, but you got to do it at least once.
it was fun.
I really
Yeah,
enjoyed the Navi River ride, just because it's like the
yeah,
typical Disney River type situation.
that was
The
cool.
only issue is I remember the girl at the end, the woman at the end, the V person,
Hmm.
like wasn't fully working. Like they spent $1 million on that thing, and like it never
At least,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, and it never actually works right, and then it reminds you of, like, Mount Everest where they have that Yeti that was the most expensive animatronic ever to be produced, and it worked for, like, a month, and
So
then
when we were there in October, she worked. They had that working, but uh Everest, whatever it's called, was broken. We had a fast lane for it, and the ride shut down.
the whole
And
coaster broke?
it shut down. Yeah, like no one could ride it. They had to
Oh,
do something.
wow.
So
Okay.
you lose your fast pass thing, which you spend money on, and
Yeah.
the only way you get your money back is if you go physically to guest services and talk to them. You can't do it
Yeah.
on the app or anything. You
Yeah.
have to go to
Yeah.
guest services. And then they hooked
Yeah.
us up. They were like, "Oh, you want a free Rise of the Resistance tomorrow? You're going to Hollywood, we'll get you that." So they were really nice, but I do think they should allow people, if you shut down the ride and they paid for that, you should be able to just get your money back on your app. That's what I think. But
Look, don't get me started with that. I did my honeymoon at Disney and they erased my
I
whole magic
forgot.
band with all the things that were planned for me. And it was supposed to be a surprise. My friend had planned it for me and did like daily envelopes that we'd open up and we'd go to different
Oh, very nice.
places. Yeah, well, it was all spoiled for me because they deleted my whole magic band.
Oh.
Yeah, I was in tears. I was in tears in Epcot. I was crying.
Wait, does
And
Matt like Disney?
yeah, it's fine.
So you went to your honeymoon and to a place where he's like,
He he enjoyed like walking around, the food. We had fun. We went like during Halloween. We also went to Savannah, Georgia before. Like we stopped somewhere else that was not Disney related, and then we went to a theme park, and then we drove back because Matt doesn't fly. I've never been on a plane with Matt.
Oh, so he was like, because Kathleen was going back and forth, like, I don't know, I should go to Japan maybe, and then she's like, no, I can't be on a plane that long, but Matt's like, no, just not going.
He had the moment. I don't think I even finished the word Japan, and he was like, no.
Wow.
He won't go to Colorado to see my
So
sisters.
wait, he's never leaving the country then, is what's happening. Well, he's never leaving. Like he can drive to Canada, I guess, and Mexico, but
well, he went on cruises. He'll
yeah,
cruise over to another place. He won't fly to another place.
that's wild to me because I
Yeah.
can't imagine me ever enjoying a cruise.
I thought the same thing, and then I went on one and I had a blast. And I was like, okay, I get it.
Right.
It is terrifying to me with children now, though, because their railings are really high, and you hear horror stories that like the kid like falls off and stuff.
Oh,
so I don't think I'll ever do it with like kids, but like when I was an adult going on one. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, hopefully they'll eventually fix Everest because that the whole point of the ride is like you have this gigantic animatronic and they put a strobe light on it and they're like, look, it's so scary because they like forgot to fix one thing before they made this thing. Anyway, it's basically cracking the mountain. So if they keep going, the mountain's going to break in half. So Disney's like,
talking about?
We were talking about Mount Everest, which the animatronic went from. Let me draw this back to you. Animatronic in Everest, animatronic in Na'vi, Na'vi ride the ride.
Right.
Now we're back to Avatar. Okay, anyway, back to the story. Avatar 3. Empire has the exclusive to talk about the upcoming movie with James Cameron. So per usual, they all do this. They're going to break it up into a bunch of pieces and tease it out to you and give you little by little. So their first story this week is introducing the new clan for Avatar 3, which is the Ash Clan. And it is from the installment Avatar Fire and Ash. It'll take place when the family of Jake and Neytiri go into uncharted territory and then run into this new clan. And so far we've seen pretty friendly clans. Humans are bad. Humans are destroying the environment. But what happens when you meet some Na'vi who are not nice? And how that plays out. So, John, I believe you saw Avatar 2, right?
Yes, The Way of Water.
Yeah. Did you like it?
I did, and I know somebody's going to correct this. So it was 3 hours and 12 minutes is the exact runtime of The Way of Water. But yeah, I enjoyed it. So I'm realizing my relationship with Avatar is sort of, I don't think about it, and then when it comes back around, I go see it. I enjoy my experience, and then it goes away again. And then it comes back, and then it goes away. And I think that's probably how it is for a lot of people. Because I don't think there's I could be wrong, but I don't think there's like a rabid Avatar fandom. You know what I mean? I think it's just something people go to see because it is a visually stunning spectacle to watch on the big screen.
I think there are people that say that they're in the fandom of the Na'vi or whatever, but it's not the same as like a Marvel or a DC or Hunger Games, Star Wars, etc.
They have the Pandora in Animal Kingdom, and there are like massively, incredibly looking structures from their planet Awa and stuff, and there's the ride, and then there's the lazy river sort of thing or whatever. But it's not, they're not gonna have like an Avatar celebration or like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, but I think it's still like, it's just wild that the Way of Water's budget was like 400 million and it made 2.3 billion dollars. And it's like,
Mhm.
I wasn't sure because it was 13 years removed from the first Avatar. I remember you and I talking about it before we even started
Yes.
doing this podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't doubt James Cameron. And if it was anyone else, I'd be like, this might be in trouble. But James Cameron proves everyone wrong again. And so that means this movie's probably going to make $2 billion more. It has a smaller budget from what I understand. And they're already doing 4 and 5, which are in various stages of production. So he's got his story mapped out. I'm going to go see it. And I'm sure I'll enjoy it. It's just, James Cameron delivers. And until he doesn't, then you got to give him that expectation. But I do like that in the first Avatar, it was really like, natives versus these colonials, and we're the bad guys as humans.
It was
invading this.
Ferngully and Pocahontas and Titanic combined.
Yeah. We're invading this natural, beautiful place and ruining it. And then the second one is, oh, well, there's other tribes of Na'vi who don't like other tribes of Na'vi, but the humans are still there being a problem. So it just adds an element. And now, and Kate Winslet joins the cast for that one. And now this one, there's another Na'vi tribe because it's this planet. So obviously there's going to be a bunch of these tribes of this similar species. But apparently this next one, which Empire's saying is an aggressive tribe that aren't good people. So Cameron's sort of saying, like, we're going to flip it a bit and muddy the waters because it's not just humans bad, Na'vi good. Now it's, oh, there are some actually really bad Na'vi people. Not just people who, we don't get along with that tribe because they do things a different way that we don't like. It's, no, we're a problem and we're going to make ourselves known in this one, and that's this Ash clan. So he's smart to keep adding things and evolving the story in that way. And that's really all I got to say on it. It's going to make a ton of money, no doubt about it. And I'll be there. I'll check it out.
Yeah, another thing that's in this one upcoming is a group called the Wind Traders, which are these kind of like pirate ships that you see in the images from Empire. Cameron says they're nomadic traders equivalent to the camel caravans of the Spice Road back in the Middle Ages. And they're just fun. Like all Na'vi, they live in a symbiosis with their creatures. The reason I love this quote is it's so James Cameron to be like, they're just fun. It's not deeper than that. It's just like, I thought it would be cool to have pirate ships in this story. And I think sometimes the best movies are ones that are like, I just thought this would be cool. I just wanted to do it.
I agree. Yeah. Sometimes it's that surface level. And pirates are really hot right now.
They really are.
Pirates are in. Everything. Yeah.
They are. They're very much in. The other thing to note is the new commander of the Ash clan is named Varang, who's played by Una Chaplin, whose embodiment of her, Cameron says, is, quote, so good that I didn't quite appreciate how good her performance is until we got the animation back. And then she is an enemy and an adversarial character. But the actress makes her feel so real and so alive. So she's going to cause issues for Jake Sully and I'm blanking on her name.
Neytiri is gonna have some like sort of fisticuffs with her on top of a volcano or something, because these people are they live in a volcano.
Nice, that's pretty sick.
So they probably blast out like with an eruption, and they're on the backs of those dragon things that I rode at Disney. What are they called? They're little flying things that they hook their tails to their butts.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what I just said about James Cameron, like that in itself, that description you just gave is very much a James Cameron. Like, wouldn't it be cool if there were these evil Na'vi who live in a volcano and they're the Ash clan? Like, it just sounds like a pitch.
You're making him sound a little like Michael Bay, though.
I'm not trying to. I think he really cares about story. I don't think that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's, just coming. I think he's more of like a George Lucas who's building these worlds and wants every detail perfect.
He
I'm
kinda
just
is like
saying
George
it is
Lucas.
fun.
'Cause
Yeah.
he doesn't write the best dialogue, in my opinion. Like, James
He
Cameron is
doesn't.
a great director, he's a great storyteller,
Looks
not
funky.
great at dialogue, and
Yeah,
that's George Lucas. So
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Um,
you didn't see the second one, so
I
are
have
you
to see the
thinking
second one, but I have time to see it, so.
but I mean, do you think that trend's gonna continue where you don't see this one in the theaters, or you think you'll make your way back for this one? What do you think?
I don't know, we'll see how I feel about the second one when I eventually
Well
see it.
well, this one comes out just before Christmas.
I got time. I got time.
You got plenty of time. You probably started your Christmas shopping already, but that's
I
neither
did
here nor
actually.
there.
I did
You
actually.
are out of your mind. But anyway,
I did actually.
what'd you
You
get
know what
me?
it is? I didn't get you anything. But I did get you awesome gifts. I actually forgot one of your gifts. It's sitting on my desk. I had another gift that was supposed to go to you that I totally forgot to wrap.
My debit card?
I mean, yes, that's one of the items. I don't even know.
My TRB.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh no, I did start my Christmas shopping. One of the things I do is when things are on clearance, I grab them up for the next, especially like holiday related stuff. I'll grab it for the following year. That's what I do. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of movies that are making their way back to the theater, a news story heading out of Deadline about Warner Brothers is saying that Gremlins and Goonies movies are on the way back. They also have plans down the road for Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, which we've talked about before, Practical Magic 2, DC's Clayface and Supergirl, Drew Goddard's incoming script for a new Matrix, and like I just said, Gremlins from Christopher Columbus, which is funny. I just watched Hook, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and a Goonies treatment, which I don't think Christopher Columbus can do any wrong. So I'm interested already. John, how are you feeling about, I mean, honestly, per usual, nostalgia, rehashes, reboots? It kind of kicked off with Star Wars, I would say. I think Force Awakens kind of kicked off that whole trend of, hey, let's bring it back. And then it kept going with Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, should I say. So are you cool with them making more Gremlins and Goonies, or are you kind of over it?
Goonies, I think, could be a mistake. The only thing I find interesting about, not the only thing. One thing I find interesting about the Goonies is Ke Huy Quan is back. So that if he keeps staying in the mix in terms of relevancy and success, he could probably carry some weight that they never would have imagined him doing otherwise, like previously. And getting Sean Astin back, and I don't know about Corey Feldman. He's sort of on his own cosmic journey right now. So, but Josh Brolin as the brother, like, he's still a very popular actor, more than ever at this point. So I would imagine it would be they have kids and they all get sort of lumped into some sort of thing together. So that one I'm skeptical on, though I like the people involved. So we'll see who makes this. The Gremlins one, I think, is a bit more intriguing to me because you got Chris Columbus. He wrote the original. He is a very good storyteller. Did the first two Harry Potters, Home Alones. He knows how to tell. What's that?
Doubtfire.
He did Doubtfire, yeah. He knows how to make good movies, and being that he wrote the original, who better than to get him? The only thing that I would be upset about is if they don't get Howie Mandel to come back to voice Gizmo, because I think they did an animated Gremlins thing recently, and they did not have Howie do it. And he was recently doing either his podcast or something else, and he did the voice. And it's not like he can't do the voice anymore or anything like that. So I would hope that they bring Howie back to voice Gizmo. I think that's important to me and probably to a lot of fans in terms of it being, a genuine return. But yeah, they got Chris Columbus. They hopefully got Howie Mandel to come back as Gizmo. I would love to see what ILM can do with those puppets today, because we know puppets are also back. So I'm very intrigued by a new Gremlins movie. In terms of the original cast, though, like, is Phoebe Cates coming back? I don't know. But I'm more intrigued for Gremlins than I am Goonies, because Goonies is a harder sell because now they're just older, and then you just got to almost force in their kids, and we've seen that stuff attempted before and not work. So we'll see. But when I first heard both, I got excited immediately. But I gotta say, if I had to pick one or two, I think Gremlins has the better chance of being a smart, successful venture.
Yeah, it is interesting. I just did a quick search of what Chris Columbus is up to lately. He's the producer for Nosferatu, which is funny to me because he's known for like Home Alone, Adventures in Babysitting, Mrs. Doubtfire, Stepmom,
Right.
Harry Potter, Rent, I Love You, Beth Cooper, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And then he's like producer in Nosferatu, which I was listening to actually a podcast about Nosferatu today.
You
And
were?
yeah, I was listening to a horror podcast today.
Wait,
And
why?
they were, because I do client work with people that do horror movies and stuff. So I was
I was
listening to
gonna
the
say,
podcast.
I thought you hated that stuff.
I do hate that stuff. And it's funny because they actually talked on the podcast about people that hate horror, don't understand the genre and stuff. And I'm like, they're not exactly wrong. But anyway, talking about Nosferatu, and they were talking about like basically how like sexual the movie is, but at the same time not sexual, and like how gory it can be at moments. And so it's just funny in comparison to what Chris Columbus is known for, at least in my mind, for him to be the producer. But I guess if they're like, you just know it's a good movie, then it's a good movie. It doesn't matter. And I mean, it also is funny that the same movie, Nosferatu, the new version of Labyrinth, is being done by that director, Robert Eggers. Is written by him. So it's so funny that you have like children's movies on one end and then Nosferatu horror on the other end, but like somehow they kind of meet
That is
with
surprising.
the creation of them. I mean, I'm not surprised they're bringing this stuff back. It definitely makes sense that people want what they love. There's a lot of money to be had, especially with Gremlins. I see Gremlins merch all the time. And it would be easy to bring back as long as, like you said, they're bringing back the original voices and then the puppetry and stuff like that. People love that. And with the kind of revival of all these childhood legacy nostalgic franchises like Ghostbusters, and like I wouldn't be surprised if they end up bringing back a Home Alone with Macaulay Culkin at some point.
Yeah, you bring up Ghostbusters, and that's a great point. So, I was like really disappointed by Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
You hated Frozen Empire, yeah. I liked the one before that. I saw Afterlife.
Yeah, Afterlife was solid. But it made me just realize that's sort of what they have to do with, if they do another Goonies, is like the next generation of Ghostbusters. It's the next generation of Goonies, and it's our kids, and they're going to get lost, and then we got to go find them and be Goonies again,
But at what point are you just copying Stranger Things? Like, it feels like all these studios are chasing Stranger Things.
But you gotta respect what came
I'm
first.
not saying I don't. I love Goonies. Grew up with Goonies. All about Goonies.
No, I know.
I'm saying right now, at what point does it kind of turn into that? Like, you got to be careful.
I agree, but you can't. I'm not saying you can't, but like saying
it can't get sci-fi is basically what I'm saying. Like, you have to stay true to what it is, which is like fantastical adventure.
I thought you meant like Goonies is knocking off Stranger Things, and I'm like,
no,
flip that.
no, that's not what I meant.
Oh, nope. All right.
I did want to mention, I know off air you had said something about like executive switches at Warner Brothers, And I wasn't really
Yes.
sure what the story was with that. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a good person to follow executives. I'm someone that's great with like marketing plans or, you know, things that were said during productions or behind the scenes stuff. I am not good with exec talk. I
So,
couldn't be more tuned out.
yeah. So apparently, you know, during the chaos of all the fires that have happened in Southern California, the Warner Brothers, both executives exited Warner Brothers. Their
Mm.
marketing president, Josh Goldstein, and their theatrical distribution president, Andrew Cripps. Um, and apparently, like the industry is pretty shook by it because it
Mm.
was not expected. There were no ears to the ground hearing rumblings of this.
Mhm.
And it's weird because WB is in this interesting spot where it's like they're putting out DC's stuff and DC's just about to get rolling. So I
Yeah.
think when people hear, you know, two executives leaving like that, um, it's just surprising, I
It
guess.
shakes stuff up, yeah.
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 So now it's saying it's the first year Motion Picture Group co-chairs and CEOs Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdy can entirely call their own since taking the reins in the summer of 2022 without any, you know, carryover from previous regimes. So some are thinking this is a good thing. Um, I don't see why not. It almost sounds like it's more of a steer towards more creative minds versus business minds, which is
Mhm.
something George Lucas always talked about. So
Mhm.
we'll see how it, you know, pans out. But I guess, you know, that's just, you know, you think Warner Brothers and you just think of this classic staple studio. And then with all these things that they're uh, developing and putting out, and like DC, like I said, launching their brand new DCU, and then you get these exits from two of their really like it says here, linchpin executives, like main cogs. So, and I'm not going to sit here and
Mhm.
pretend I knew their names. I didn't. I don't pay attention to executive names. Obviously, we hear Bob Iger a lot and Frank Marshall and
But
those
they're at the
names.
top, yeah.
Yeah. But like Warner Brothers and other studios, those executives I feel like stay out of the limelight, whereas Bob Iger's
Mhm.
like, let me put on my sweater and walk down Main Street, USA. Like
Yeah.
so, it's a bit of a different animal. But
And say stupid
that's it, I guess.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, well, in other kind of, I guess, technical
Bananas.
executive news, which at first when I saw this headline, I was like, that makes no sense. But when they go into the details of what the situation is, and knowing how petty Ryan Reynolds is, it actually might make sense. So we talked about it a little bit a while ago, the whole Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni thing for It Ends With Us. I know, John, I think you said you watched the movie. I have not watched this movie. I have no intention of watching this movie whatsoever, which is funny because that seems like right up my alley, but no. Anyway, there's a lot of drama. There was drama during the press tour, drama behind the scenes. The whole cast unfollowed Justin Baldoni. Then recently, Blake Lively basically sued him and was like, "You're a terrible person. Here's all the terrible things you did to me. I'm suing you." And has evidence, which the question is, how did she get this evidence? But has evidence that his press team went out of their way to paint her in a bad light. Now, I want to be clear. Just because they made stuff up doesn't mean I'm saying that someone isn't a bad person or hasn't done jerky stuff, because there are
You're
some
fine.
moments. I'm just saying there are
Yeah.
some moments that she has been a jerk. So I stand by what I said earlier.
I think she probably is a jerk. Like
Yeah,
jerks
actually,
get sexually harassed too, you know.
I want to. This is a complete side tangent. We're doing tangents tonight. Just follow along. Um, I was watching Hook. No, you know what? I'll bring this up later. It's about Hook. Anyway, back to what I was talking about with Blake Lively. Um, so anyway, she sues Justin Baldoni. Justin Baldoni goes, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Now I'm going to sue you," because she basically has started the process of ruining his life, so to speak. And I'm not saying I'm on either side. I'm just speaking for what it is. He got dropped by his agency. A bunch of partnerships dropped him. He lost his award that he just won for sticking up for women. or being like an ally to women, all this stuff he lost out on because of Blake Lively's lawsuit. So he is returning the favor, and he has hit Disney Marvel kind of like a subpoena for all documents relating to Ryan Reynolds' nice pool in Deadpool and Wolverine amid the Blake Lively legal battle. This is from Variety. So January 7th, his lawyer, Brian Friedman, sent a litigation hold letter to Feige and Iger in connection with his client's anticipated claims. And the move is coming back from the "it ends it with us" situation. So I see this headline. I sent it to you, John. When I first saw this headline, I was like, this is ridiculous. But then they lay it out in this article. So I had totally forgotten that Nice Pool had said these things. So Nice Pool is a guy in the movie that's Deadpool without a mask on. He kind of says these like weird, kind of condescending, nice things, but like they're a little sketch, has a man bun. Really weird. So ends up, they paired it up at the top of this article of Justin Baldoni also having a man bun. And based on the lawsuit that has come out from Blake Lively, the comments that Nice Pool said included, "Where in the God's name is the intimacy coordinator?" Which one of the big things for Blake Lively is that there was no intimacy coordinator on set. Then Nice Pool also says, "It's okay. I identify as a feminist," which is something that Justin had touted for a while, is that he was an ally to women. I know I watched interviews with him where he said stuff like this. And then he also goes on to say things about like Lady Deadpool, who was played by Blake Lively, how she snapped back after giving birth, which in Blake Lively's lawsuit has said that he made comments about her weight, fat shaming her, etc. John, you're not one to follow the gossip of Hollywood and or kind of these messy situations. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's legit? Do you think he's just grasping for straws at this point? Like, what are your thoughts?
So that part about the Gordon Reynolds thing is what made me think it's legit that they were mocking Justin with this Nice Pool character. Because in the end credits of Deadpool and Wolverine, the actor who plays Nice Pool is listed as Gordon Reynolds. Now we know it's Ryan Reynolds, but they list the actor as a different person. They listed it as Gordon Reynolds. And then so I don't know how they found it, but good for them. Lively thanked Gordon Reynolds in the end credits of It Ends With Us. So, and remember how she sort of took over the packaging and presentation of that movie. So I
supposedly
think
she re-edited the whole movie.
Had her cut or whatever.
I think they're admitting that her cut is the one that aired, by the way.
So I don't have a care about this situation.
A horse in this race.
I don't have a horse in this race. This is none of my business. I don't really think this stuff should necessarily be public, especially until it gets like straightened out. Because sometimes I read one thing and I'm like, man, that guy's a real prick. And then I read like his side of the story and see that there is evidence to it. And I'm like, man, that's petty. Holy cow. You're making fun of this guy in your billion-dollar movie for Marvel? And then it's like, so you got both sides there. And we've seen high-profile cases and stuff. You think you have it pinned, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa. That wasn't it at all, actually. So I'm just sitting back to see how it all plays out. His lawyer said, I'm suing them into oblivion. He's going after, that's what he said. He said he's suing Blake
the lawyer's
Lively.
going, they have money. That's
Yeah. So the one thing I'll say about Blake Lively is, and you know, the nuance to all this, I'm not saying whether it happened or not. I believe there were reports that Ryan Reynolds was on set. So if that stuff happened while he was
he
there,
was in the
then
meetings. Yeah.
shame on him. Then she should have said something. But also to the point, you know, if this was such a like and tell me your perspective as a woman and put me in check if needed. But
Mhm.
if this was such a horrible experience to the point where you need to sue this guy, end his career, and all this stuff, how are you making jokes about it? You know,
I don't know.
if they indeed prove that that is the case, because they're taking every document from Disney, they have to put a freeze on it that has anything to do with the creation of Nice Pool. So there could be notes saying like Justin's name or something. Like they're looking for everything. So
Well, there
that's gonna
has to
be
be an
interesting.
email about it at least, like, "Hey, we're introducing this new character," and if there is an email about it, like, they're gonna find it.
That's gonna be interesting. So and here's the thing about Blake Lively though, and you know, a lot of those videos that came out about her past junket experiences that his PR team clearly brought to the surface, which
Mhm.
they released that dirt, but she does get very defensive when anybody seemed to bring up her pregnancy, even in a nice way. And then she like attacked that woman back who apparently couldn't have kids. Like it seems like she doesn't want to be identified as just a mother or something. And she and rightfully so, I guess. But it's like I look for patterns in things, and it seems like that is a hot button issue for her because anytime she's asked about it in interviews, she gets a little defensive and snaps back.
Mm.
And maybe rightfully so in some situations. I can't speak to that, but
The one
maybe
interview that you're talking about of that woman that came out and was like, yeah, she was kind of a jerk. Like, she was kind of a jerk. The lady was like, "Oh, well, congratulations on your pregnancy." And she snapped back at the lady, goes, "Oh, congratulations on yours."
she
That's
said
not
bump.
saying,
Congratulations on your little bump. And she
yeah,
goes,
which is a
congratulations on
thing,
your bump.
right? Which someone that was pregnant, speaking from my point of view,
Mhm.
when it is announced that you're pregnant out publicly and people start commenting on the bump or your belly or whatever. Like, is that great? No. But a lot of people don't mean it in a negative light. They're trying to celebrate or connect on a way that is a big milestone in your life. You're having a child. Now, are there comments that are inappropriate? Sure. I don't think that lady made it she was just saying, "Congratulations on your little bump." Blake Lively coming back and saying, "Well, congrats on yours." You're just calling that lady fat. Like, that's
And
not a
wasn't
nice
she
thing to
unable
do.
to have kids, that woman?
Yeah, yeah.
That's just
So, it is
and
just
like
weird, it seems very petty all around, and in the article, they
yeah.
do say that Lively wrote, quote, "About nice men who use feminism as a tool," which is a complete connection to, obviously, Justin Baldoni, but, I mean, I do have to laugh, though, because the paragraph in this article, I just have to read a little bit about how messy this situation is. It said, after Baldoni and the group that also includes publicists Melissa, Nathan, and Jennifer Abel sued the Times in Los Angeles Superior Court, Lively filed suit against the plaintiffs in federal court in a complaint that mirrored her letter. Baldoni's former publicist then sued him and Abel and Nathan, who released the text messages, and Lively's attorneys confirmed these were correct text messages. And then you have Baldoni's lawyer being like, "I'm going to sue them back." So you have all these people suing each other. It's like so
It's
messy.
crazy. What
Yeah.
like and maybe I'm being too simple about this, but like she obviously probably told Ryan about it as it was happening, and he probably maybe even saw some of it. And maybe it's like the Will Smith thing. Like when Chris Rock made the joke, Will Smith laughed at first.
Mhm.
And then he's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that. And now I need to overreact." And he went up there and slapped Chris Rock in the face. And it was one of the most shocking things ever. Now, I'm not saying
Which
this is
is, by the
directly.
way, so inappropriate to ever hit anybody in public. So
I mean,
inappropriate.
oh, and Chris Rock's, when he finally did that special and his response, perfection.
Yeah, it's so
Cut him
weird.
up. But
So weird.
so, and I'm not saying this is what happened here, but what if, you know, maybe Ryan didn't do enough when he was on set and he's like, now I'm going to go get him and we're going to sue him and we're going to do all this. And it's just like, I kind of wish they handled this in an old school way where like, what if Ryan just like punched him in the face or like, dude, you're a dick, or like, you know, like all these lawsuits, it's not going to be good for any of their careers. And
It's very petty. It's very.
I don't know what it's going to achieve, and it does sound ugly from both sides. I don't think there's a hero here or necessarily
I think they
one
both
victim.
did stuff. I think it was terrible, mean things on both
It
sides.
just seems like it was a bad relationship from the get-go.
Yeah.
In terms
Power
of the
struggle.
working relationship. So I'm not taking a side here or anything like that. Let's see how it all plays out. It doesn't really concern me. It's just sort of juicy and interesting to watch this Hollywood thing play out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Nobody should ever be sexually harassed. But you just want to make sure everyone has their chance to speak their side of the story, because there's always your side, my side, and the truth, and get all the evidence out there. Let the courts hash it out, because that's the way they want to do it. And hopefully, careers aren't destroyed of people who don't deserve their careers being destroyed. We'll see. I don't know what's going on here, but it's absolutely crazy considering 6 months ago, Ryan Reynolds, #1 movie in the world, $1 billion, Blake Lively. It ends
and
with
this
Us
is his
comes out.
legacy right now. Yeah.
Yeah, makes a ton of money, and now all people are thinking about is this. And I feel bad for everyone involved because of that, because all the work they did on either side.
Imagine Sean Levy gets pulled into this.
I hope not, and
I hope not too.
Because think about the Johnny Depp.
But I think
Depp
he
and
helped
Amber...
write it.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure he wrote it with Ryan Reynolds. So if they're getting into the writing of the movie, they're going to pull Sean Levy into it.
But the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing, still to this day, when people mention their names, I think about that ugliness, and it's it just sucks, and I hope whatever the truth is, I'll put it simply, whatever the truth is, I hope it comes out and the true justice of the situation is served. How about that?
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm ready to talk some trailers, though. I'm ready to get out of this mess.
Trailer time.
Oh, God, I love that movie.
All right, Lacey, that I'm excited about the return of the Punisher. We talked about it last week. John Bernthal back. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be awesome. But he's also appearing in the revival of Daredevil, which is now Daredevil Born Again, a Marvel TV series only on Disney Plus. Charlie Cox is back. D'Onofrio's back. Bernthal's back. Did you watch the trailer? And did you watch Daredevil?
I did. I didn't watch did I watch the 3rd season? I don't think I watched the 3rd season. I watched the first, or was there only 2 seasons? I'm blanking. How many seasons are there? It's kind of
2.
It's tough because it starts to get pulled
3.
into.
I'm sorry. It was 3.
So there is 3. So this is the 4th season.
Well, it's like a new. They're calling it like a reboot in a weird way. It's not like it's Daredevil season 4. Now it's Daredevil Born Again.
I'm sure that's a copyright thing because Daredevil is owned by Netflix. I guarantee that's what it is. Which is funny because I'm pretty sure Daredevil is not on Netflix anymore. I think it's been pulled off and put on to Disney Plus.
Yeah. Yep.
Because they lost the rights to it or whatever. Yes. So the original series was called Marvel's Daredevil. That was the series.
Yep.
And there are 3 seasons. So I watched season 1 and I believe season 2. I don't think I watched season 3. Again, this was a while ago because that's 2015, 2016, and 2018. I did watch Luke Cage. I did watch some of Iron Fist, and I watched Jessica Jones. And some of The Punisher. I didn't finish The Punisher. But
Punisher.
That being said, this new series, which is entitled Daredevil Born Again, I'm assuming picks up after he was in She-Hulk, after a lot of the events in the other Marvel television series, movies, etc. I'm definitely going to check this out. I'm concerned that I didn't watch the other series stuff, but I'm going to guess that they don't care if you've watched the other ones because they're thinking, oh, if someone picks it up here, we want it to be a complete story. I think this is probably setting up Daredevil to join the Avengers or join some type of big team up. And this is the easiest way to do that. I personally hope they bring back Jessica Jones, but I was hyped to see all the characters from the series come back into this Disney Plus version. Like Karen and his friends and Bernthal especially because he's just so good.
And
It was nice.
D'Onofrio.
Yeah, it was nice to see them all back again.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out too. The trailer was good. I loved seeing Punisher back, so I'm absolutely gonna check it out. And of course, getting ready for the return of Punisher in his own deal. And now we got a double dip of De Niro. So we got
I know.
Zero Day, which is coming February. Oh, by the way, Daredevil Born Again premieres March 4th. So mark your calendars. It's gonna be here before you know it. 0 Day, February 20th, Netflix. De Niro plays a ex-president who oversees a response to a major attack. And this isn't, I wouldn't say this is a trailer. It's more of like a look into a scene that seems
It's
like
a teaser.
very pivotal.
I would say a teaser.
I guess it's a teaser. It's so centrally
It's only a
focused
minute.
on this one
Teaser,
scene.
minute and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what'd you think of we'll start with 0 Day. What'd you think of that teaser, and do you like political thrillers?
I do enjoy political thrillers. I think this is probably coming out at a good time. People are really into politics after this last year with the election. Robert De Niro is always good. I said De Niro. Robert De Niro is always good. It looks intriguing and gave me a lot of tension and angst in just the
Right.
minute and a half. You're like, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? And there's clearly a cut to the door. The people are banging on the door. There's helicopters outside. I'm interested to see more because it does have Angela Bassett and Jesse Plemons and Dan Stevens in it. I love Dan Stevens. I think he's great. Yeah, I'll be watching it. It's the day after my birthday.
There
Happy
you go.
birthday to me.
I am also gonna watch this. I do like political thrillers. And I wonder if this is going to be sort of like Cat and Mouse, which are my favorite type of political thrillers, like Absolute Power, Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman is a great cat and mouse political thriller, but that is sort of almost like a copy of is it No Way Out? Why am I thinking of the wrong? Yeah, I think it's No Way Out. Kevin Costner. Yeah, No Way Out, 1987. Kevin Costner, also Gene Hackman. Kevin Costner witnesses like the Secretary of Defense kills like a girl, his mistress, and then they try to like find out who this guy is that saw it. So he's on the run the whole movie. That if you've never seen that movie, check out No Way Out. It is great. So I hope it's sort of like that. Now De Niro's like 82 now, so he's getting up there. But I feel like in certain moments you still see a lot of his classic acting nuances and stuff. So I am gonna check this out. It's Netflix, don't have to leave home, and hopefully it's good. But then we have more De Niro coming out a month later, March 21st, first day of spring, in theaters. The Alto Knights, Robert De Niro playing two roles, and Deborah Messing. So this is a more of like a organized crime movie, and it's directed by
yeah, I was going to say it's inspired by the true story of the mob boss who brought about the downfall of the American mafia.
Yep. Yeah. So he plays Frank Costello, and he's also playing Vito Genovese, or Genovese, however you want to say it. But what were your thoughts on the trailer for the Alto Knights?
This looks past my my interest. I'm not into mob movies, Italian mob movies. I don't really dig the one actor playing multiple roles. And it looks like from screenshots that I've seen online, he's like de-aged a little bit, and they're doing a little bit of CG work and stuff to make him look a little different.
Like The Irishman?
Yeah, well, this is saying that it's from The Irishman, so
Yeah.
probably the same thing. But I appreciate the costumes and the sets that look beautiful of the time period. I like that. But yeah, I probably won't be checking this one out. Not really my thing. And every time I see an actor that's playing multiple roles, I just think of the Polar Express with Tom Hanks. He plays like 10 people in that movie.
Really?
You ever seen it?
Yeah.
He plays the homeless guy. He plays Santa. He plays the guy on the train. He's playing the kid's dad. Like it's too much. Tom
Too
Hanks.
much. Too much
And I
Hanks.
love Tom Hanks.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, I like this trailer. I think this movie looks good. I think in this trailer we get more of a classic De Niro. Like there's certain moments in De Niro movies where he sort of like looks away a little bit and like is clearly thinking about something he's going to do, and he does certain things with his face, and it's like a classic thing he's always done, and he's doing it again here, and I loved seeing it. Cuz like Robert De Niro is one of those actors who likes to play those roles where he doesn't there's certain moments where he's not saying a lot, but you're like, that guy, I'm a little scared of that guy because I don't know what he's
Mhm.
thinking right now, and he's not saying
Mhm.
anything, and it makes me
Mhm.
even more scared. Like it's very memed now, but the scene in Goodfellas when Cream is playing and he's smoking the cigarette and he's just sort of looking at the guys down at the end of the bar, you're like, that is a dangerous man. He's not saying anything, but that makes him even more dangerous. And I got a lot of that out of this trailer.
Mhm.
And he's playing, Frank Costello, which is the same name as Jack Nicholson's character, Frank Costello, in The Departed, but Jack Nicholson's character was based on Whitey Bulger, another famous mobster. So it's not the same, thing. So I like these mob movies. I'm actually oddly glad it's not Scorsese doing it, but Barry Levinson directing it. So and that's amazing when you think about it, because Barry Levinson is 82. I just said De Niro, I think, is like 82. He's 81. Like, honestly, that's kind of inspiring to see,
Mhm.
people in their 80s making movies. Harrison Ford doing, stuff still. It's like really cool to see. So I'm gonna see this. I'd be surprised if I see it in the theaters, but I'm not gonna rule it out. If the stars align and I can get to a theater and this has like monster buzz around it, I'll check it out. But I am going to watch this at some point for sure. Yeah.
Nice. I saw a clip online that made me think of you because I know you like this kind of stuff. Someone in New Jersey they printed out screenshots of The Sopranos and then held up the screenshots to where the locations are in New Jersey. You ever
Ah,
see someone do that? And they did that with
yeah.
Sopranos specifically. And like, I guess one of the restaurants that maybe the end scene of Sopranos is in or something, they knocked it down and put a parking lot in.
Really?
So the guy was holding up these screenshots and it's in front of a parking lot, and the joke was like they paved paradise and put up a parking lot.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
thought of you because you love The Sopranos.
And I do like when people do that stuff. I like when people go to film locations. I think that's a really fun thing. And I've seen a bunch
Mhm.
of accounts do that type of thing where they take a still from the movie and put it
Yep.
right exactly. Yeah, that is really, really cool. And it takes
Yep.
a lot of it's a lot of work.
A lot of planning, and they have to line it up perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did
Same
a good
same time
job.
of day maybe in
I
some
should send it to
instances.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to check that out. But that's it. Gilly, that's it for the trailers. Now it is time
Mhm.
to ask you what you watching.
We can never leave the house, and we'd just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
Well, John, I am watching the end of Skeleton Crew, sadly. We talked about it on TRB, episode 8, the finale with our buddy Clayton Sandell. Man, did I love this series. It was so fun. It was good. It was, heartfelt, emotional, exciting. Like, I have no complaints. It was just such a good series. And I hope Lucasfilm sees that people enjoy it and take away the lesson of like more family friendly Star Wars stuff. Like people don't have to
Mhm.
die every episode and stuff. But yeah, it was a good time. That's all I have to say about that. If you want to hear more, TRB is there. Other than that, so I told this story the other day on TRB, but I was turning on my TV, and my TV is a smart TV, so it has Movie Hub. That's how I watched Die Hard a couple months ago. This time it's Hook. Hook was on, and I watched it, and I, was like halfway through towards the end, whatever. But man, that movie is so good.
Yeah, it
Like
is good.
it's one of those movies that like when it's on, you just got to watch it. And like
Yeah.
even watching it for like the 15 minutes it was on, it was the end. It was like so emotional with the music and Robin Williams. I love Robin Williams. He's my number one favorite actor of all time. Like anytime someone asks me like, who do you wish you could bring back to life, or who would you want to have dinner with, or who would you, it's always Robin Williams. Robin Williams like meant so much to me and my childhood, and like everything about him was awesome. And he definitely, when he passed away, it was one of those things that like I was like physically hurting. Like I was like sobbing. I was so sad.
Yeah.
So to see him on screen again, it was just so fun. And seeing Maggie Smith, who's now sadly passed away, seeing her on screen. And just the little details, like I was geeking out to Matt about like how the door, the window to go outside has the little hook, Captain Hook latch and stuff like that. But what I was going to say earlier, the tangent I was about to go on, Julia Roberts plays Tinkerbell in that movie. And there's a part at the end that she's like, in between wake and sleep is where I'll love you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I heard she kind of sucks.
Who?
And Julia Roberts. And Matt said that he had also heard the same thing, like a story on a podcast or something, that she is like a very not nice person. And that specifically with Hook, she like didn't show up on time. She was like wasting people's time. And they literally told her, the story Matt told me was they literally, which that's a Steven Spielberg movie, by the way. They said, well, I didn't realize that until the credits ran. I was like, oh,
John Williams music. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew John Williams. I didn't know Steven Spielberg, which makes sense when you think about all the pushes in that movie. Steven Spielberg loves a good push shot. It's my fave. Anyway, so I guess she was just being not cool and like being really rude and not showing up on time and just not a good person. And they were like, we will fire you and reshoot your whole parts, all the parts. We don't care. We'll shoot the whole movie again.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he said. And I was like, where did you hear this? But I thought it was such a juicy story that I was like, I've actually heard that she's not nice, that she's like not a good person.
Well, to be fair, she was only 23.
You could be a good person whether you're 23, 43, 83.
I'm not saying you can't. I think you understand that. What I'm saying is now she's 58. People change, who knows? I'm sure I would have issues with some of the things I was like when I was, 23 years old. I'm sure you too.
That's fine. I'm just saying it was funny because I was just standing there being like, I feel like I've heard that she's not cool. And Matt was like, oh, she's not cool. And like, he doesn't usually have stories like that. So I was like, ooh.
Did you say what her nickname was?
No, what was her nickname?
Apparently her nickname, she gained the nickname Tinker Hell.
See, that's what he's talking about.
No, but it could be from the same, article. But I don't know. We'll have to dig into this because I don't want to sit here and, speak to that.
I'm just saying it was just very funny that this wholesome, wonderful movie I'm watching and Matt was hitting me with like, oh, she's the worst. I was like, what? Anyway, the other thing I watched this week, which is something I found a couple weeks ago, but it keeps coming up with my kids, is I've been watching these Lego Hogwarts ASMR ambient scenes on YouTube, which the concept sounds stupid. You're like, okay, what does it mean? So what they do is they literally do these scenes in Legos, like the animation style, with little like Easter eggs and stuff, and they play fun music, and it's just like kind of like a Yule log, but it's the common rooms in Hogwarts. And they do the outside of Hogwarts with Hagrid. And then they do each common room with different music and like different things pop out and characters come and do stuff. And then they like walk around. You see Harry for a little bit. And then there's like a snitch. And then it goes to Slytherin and Snape walks in. Anyway, I was just commenting on how, first of all, relaxing and wonderful it is. So if anybody's looking for something to just chill to while they're doing work and stuff, put that on. Hogwarts Legacy, or not Hogwarts Legacy, it's Hogwarts Lego, like festive castle something, SEO terms that they used. It's from Lego. And yeah, it was surprisingly awesome. And it made me want to rewatch the Harry Potter films. So I think I'm going to do that soon.
Send me a link. Where is it? Where do
I will.
watch
It's
that?
on YouTube. I'll send you a link after this.
So as you were describing that, I did a quick little googly goo, and Julia Roberts responded recently to those rumors.
Oh, snap. What'd she say?
When asked about the rumor that she was difficult in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Roberts said she never heard the nickname Tinkerhell, but she didn't deny that she may have rubbed people the wrong way on set, but adding, I'm a normal person. I mean, if I sit in my trailer for 6 hours doing nothing, I'm going to say, what the F is going on? So, but it gets better. Steven Spielberg also fueled the fire during an interview on 60 Minutes, where he said,
This is such a gossipy episode of Nerdy and Nice.
we are, this is like Perez Hilton. Where I got to be like this. And could you believe that? But he goes, quote, it was not a great time for Julia and I to be working together. When he was asked if he would
a polite way of saying she's terrible.
When he was asked if he would ever work with her again, he retorted, quote, this is a 60 Minutes question, isn't it? So. And after the interview aired, Roberts told Vanity Fair, I saw his comments and it made my eyes pop out of my head. I couldn't believe that this person I knew and trusted was actually hesitating to come to my defense. And then there's other examples of some co-stars that didn't really love working with her. So anyway, I never knew that. I always thought like Julia Roberts, like, I'm sure a lot of people in Hollywood are kind of, you know, they always say don't meet your heroes or whatever, and I don't think any actors are my heroes necessarily. I don't roll that way, but I'm sure there are a lot of them that you're like, she's so sweet, and it's like, yeah, that is all BS. like
but there's also people that you meet that you're like, I'm getting a vibe, and sometimes those vibes are right.
I have a very good vibe check.
What's your vibe check? I bet mine beats yours.
I don't have a specific thing, but I can read people very well, and my instincts are often very, like, they wind up becoming accurate. But yeah, Julia Roberts, I don't know, I always thought she was just like, yeah, she's just one of those actors that's famous, and she's always been around, and she always has that big smile, and maybe she's a douche to people sometimes. I don't know, like, I don't really care. But when Spielberg gives those quotes, you're like, oh man.
Yeah, I wouldn't want. I think I would like disappear if Steven Spielberg was like talking not great about me.
But it didn't hurt her career, so she's still out there.
She's doing something. What'd you watch this week? I'm gonna go back and watch my Hogwarts ambient.
I watched.
Cheerful.
Mine's gonna be a lot quicker than yours per usual, but I watched Skeleton Crew, of course. Tune into the Resistance broadcast Thursday as we are going to interview the co-creator, writer, and showrunner, Christopher Ford. And we're going to try to get all of what went into his creating of these characters and stuff. So TRB Resistance broadcast Thursday. Because not TRB Live. It's going to come out all at the same time on the Podapps and right here on the channel. Also, I watched the NFL wildcard round, and it might have been one of the worst wild card playoff weekends in the history of the NFL. Like,
who's in? I haven't even been paying attention. Who's in?
Well, the Chiefs are still in. The Bills are still in. So you got those big heavy hitters from the AFC side. The Lions are in. They've never won a Super Bowl, so a lot of people are putting their rally flag around them, especially people like me.
I wanted them to win last year.
We're Giants fans, and that
yeah.
franchise is pretty much just a complete dumpster fire. And
I love that you like the Giants and the Yankees.
That's usually a pairing, though. Like, usually. Why is that? Why are you laughing?
I'm saying the past year you just have not had good luck.
Oh, the Yankees went to the World Series. They just lost the World Series, though.
Yeah.
I also watched Saturday Night, the movie about Saturday Night Live. We talked about the trailer a while ago.
Yes, we talked about this a couple times. How was it?
Very good. Very good. I was very surprised. The only thing I'm trying to think, some of the castings were a little off. The one that really threw me, and it's not entirely his fault, I'll say it quickly. Nicholas Braun, he's in Succession. He's like 6'7". He's
Is he the doofus guy that kind of walks around with McFadden?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Where he's like,
So-
executives coming through, and it's like him and the other guy.
So first off, he's 6'7", and in this movie he plays Andy Kaufman, and he plays Jim Henson, and Jim Henson was tall. I think he was like 6'3". Andy Kaufman, I don't know, but he does an okay job with Jim Henson. But oddly, and I'm not trying to be like funny, anytime he was on screen, I felt like it was an SNL skit. And it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a movie about them trying to create the first episode of SNL behind the scenes. So I think he was a mistake, but there were a lot. Like the guy who played Chevy Chase was incredible. Like they cast the perfect guy to play an a-hole. Because Chevy Chase, everyone knows that guy's an a-hole. You don't need
How
to
was
sue anybody or
Rachel?
find me. How was Rachel? Rachel.
She's one of the main women in it. I don't know if she's Gilda Radner, maybe.
They didn't spend a lot of time on Gilda Radner, to be honest.
Maybe she
Unfortunately,
wasn't
because
Gilda Radner.
I actually really like Gilda Radner. I think she was really, really funny. But the kid who played Lorne Michaels was great. He made the movie for me. He was so good because a lot of people do Lorne Michaels impressions. Dana Carvey.
Oh, she was
the first-
Rosie Schuster. Sorry to cut you off. Rosie Schuster.
Oh, okay. I mean, there was like 500 people in the movie. I'm trying to think of like she didn't have a big role.
It looks like she has curly hair and a vest. She's sitting on some guy dressed like a bee.
Yeah, and that's John Belushi. So the guy, I didn't really even love the guy who played John Belushi either. But the girl, like, I'll just do quick. The girl who played Jane Curtin was awesome. Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yes, Rachel Sennett. Sennett, yeah. Now I know who you mean, Rosie. Yes, okay. She was fine. But Gabriel LaBelle, who played Lorne Michaels, was awesome. And he didn't do the impression like Mike Myers and those guys would do. You could hear the accent and hear the Lorne Michaels, but he did it pretty naturally. He was awesome. The guy who played Chevy Chase, awesome. Our former guest of ours, Taylor Gray, plays Al Franken. So it was really nice to see Taylor. He was great. He looked just like Al Franken, sounded like Al Franken. I was like, freaking Taylor Gray. Awesome. Taylor Gray, come back and chat with us one day. I love seeing Robert Wool. The guy, and the dude who played Dan Aykroyd didn't really look like Dan Aykroyd, but he sounded exactly like Dan Aykroyd.
Dylan O'Brien. He's from Teen Wolf.
Yeah. He was really good. So it didn't, it's not a movie that made a ton of money, but I really thought Jason Reitman did a great job. He did a great job directing it. I felt like I was on set the whole time, and there's so much going on, but he made it feel like I was able to soak it all in. It didn't move too fast. He did a really, really good job, in my opinion. So if you like SNL and want to get a sort of like a history lesson snapshot of how chaotic it was for them to get the first episode on air, check it out. Oh, and also Willem Dafoe, so good in this movie. He plays one of the executives who's trying to get the show shut down.
Oh, really? I find that if Willem Dafoe is playing something like kooky or quirky, it's like where he shines.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, like Beetlejuice. You know? He was excellent, and I can go on, but and Finn Wolfhard played an NBC page. He was just like there handing out flyers to people in the street to come see a show. But
did I ever tell you I applied to be a page?
No, I did not.
I went through the whole process. Well, half the process, and then I left the process.
Oh, really?
I thought I wanted to be one, and I had a day's notice. They basically I worked at NBC Sports for a semester during the Olympics, and so the big question is like, what do you do after college? And the big thing for NBC people is you go into the page program, and that decides, do you go into news? Do you go into sports? Do you go SNL? Whatever. And so the day before the page interviews, someone dropped out or someone kind of worked the system to get me into it. And I brought my resume and everything there. And I thought it was just going to be a normal interview. It's like a performance thing. So I get there and I'm at a table with like 9 other kids. And I say kids because we all look very young. And there was like a girl from Nebraska. There's a guy from Florida. Like all over the country, these kids flew in for this interview. I came an hour and a half to do this thing. And so they said, like, prepare something that like tells us who you are. And it's like, I have 8 hours to prepare this thing. So I show up with like my resume and like a list of words that describe me or some stupid thing. This girl had a trifold board of Candyland. And the trifold board Candyland had slots that described her life story. And I was like, I am in the wrong place.
I've heard enough.
I was like, this is not for me.
Not for anybody.
I was so embarrassed. I was like, I got to get out of here.
I'm out.
Oh, funny story.
That's it. That's it though. So yeah, I recommend people check out Saturday Night. I really did enjoy it, and I'd like to
What's
see
it on?
more of. It's on a lot of things. It's on demand. You gotta rent it. All that good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you to everybody for checking out the show. Kind of a wild one. A lot of gossipy type stuff, but I think this was one of the spicier episodes of Nerdy and Nice.
It's
And we
okay.
said
Sometimes we talk
we
about
said we bring
random
the
stuff.
spice. I mean, we're not here to just fluff. We're here to say what's on our mind, or Why Else podcast, But thank you to everybody for listening or watching and getting nerdy with us. Make sure you do subscribe to Nerdy and Nice on your favorite podcast app, or of course our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@TRBpodcasts. Check out trbpodcast.com, Nerdy and Nice merch. Check it out. I mean,
Ooh,
I usually look good, but now I look really
at that.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got the pocket tees on there. This will be up there eventually. We have a lot of cool stuff for Nerdy Nights and TRB, and obviously it goes to support our shows. So thank you very much. And more to come on TRB podcasts. I may start writing this year again, and we have a lot of other cool stuff in store. And the patreon.com/TRB podcasts. Our tiers start at just $5. As soon as you join, you get access to all of our exclusive content that's on Patreon. We do bonus mini episodes. We're going to be doing watch-alongs. We do video chats. We have a Discord server. We have a lot of great stuff. And again, that goes to support our shows as well, because it's just Lacey and I running the show here. And your support means a lot. It allows this show to exist, quite frankly. So patreon.com/TRB podcast, if you're able to. I know it's kind of tough for a lot of people right now with the economy and all that, but if you have a few shekels and you like what we do, we appreciate the support. Thank you. Big shout out to the Movie Star Generals and Silver Screen Spice Runners. The Generals are Carmelo, John Risi, Jed Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kratz, Chris Morales, Brian Smith, Danny, Mike Rumore, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornack, Colin Cormier, Stephen Garrow, Sachi, and Doris Snips. And the Spice Runners, David Probus, Neil Shah, Kendall GELNER, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, and the THEFORTWORTHIAN. And all of our supporters, all of our listeners, however you like to get nerdy with us, thank you so much. Like I said, TRB is coming out Thursday morning for audio and video. No TRB live this week. We are interviewing Christopher Ford, creator, showrunner, writer for Skeleton Crew. Very excited for that. And then we'll be back with you in a week for another episode of Nerdy and Nice. But Lacey, where can people hit you up to talk all about the crazy things we just talked
about? People can find me on social media at Lacey Gilleran. That's it.
Goodbye, TikTok.
I will be posting a link to the Hogwarts Lego ambient thing.
I'll check it out. Why not? I might check it out.
It's pretty
if
awesome.
You send it to me now, I'll go check it out. Fall asleep to it. Who knows? But me, Johnny Hoey on Blue Sky, and X, and my movie podcast, Just Like the Movies. We just did an episode on Sin City. A horny movie that is. Absolutely wild. Yeah. But that's it for us. We will see you Star Wars fans Thursday. The rest of you next Monday. Have a great week, everybody. And we'll see you next time right here on Nerdy and Nice. See you around, kids.